It is happening every day now. Civilian areas are being hit every single day. Today, a railway building was shelled in Donetsk. Donetsk is controlled by Russia. The pro-Russian officials are blaming Ukrainian forces for today's strike. Is that what really happened? We cannot say for sure. There is no verifiable proof yet. And that has become the reality of this war now. Both sides, be it Russia or Ukraine, blame each other for acts of aggression. And in the end, it is the civilians who are suffering. On Gravitas tonight, we'll tell you how. The biggest battleground right now is Kherson. Russia has carried out relentless attacks. Ukrainian forces have hit back. Water and electricity supplies have been lost on both sides. Both sides seem to be bracing for a final assault. Warnings are being sounded from Kyiv. Let's tell you the latest now. We start with Kherson. Why is this region so important? Because it is the only provincial capital that Moscow has seized. Ukraine is fighting to win back Kherson. A loss there would mean humiliation for Moscow. So Russia could mount a fierce escalation. Pro-Russian officials have gone into overdrive. They are issuing fresh appeals and asking locals to evacuate.
There
is no problem with food in the city. There are products available. Some pharmacies are not working at full capacity, but people can access social benefits. We are also working on this. Evacuation from Kherson city continues. We are now evacuating bedridden people who are unable to move by themselves.
For some days now, pro-Russian officials have been accusing Ukraine of planning strikes on civilians. The Russian side has not offered any compelling evidence to prove this. But the evacuations from Kherson continue. Ukraine is making serious charges too. President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that civilian infrastructure is under attack. Listen in.
Today, the occupiers again used Iranian military drones. There were downings, but unfortunately, there were also hits. We also understand that the terrorist state is concentrating forces and means for a possible repetition of mass attacks on our infrastructure. First of all, energy. In particular, for this, Russia needed Iranian missiles. We are preparing to respond.
There is a growing problem. More than 4 million consumers are already without power. In Kherson, the situation is far worse. On Sunday, at least 10 settlements were out of electricity and water. What happened? Well, the pro-Russian officials are blaming Ukraine again. They say a Ukrainian attack took down high-voltage power lines. Again, there is no evidence to prove this claim. There are more in Ukraine who could go out of power. There could be more blackouts in store. Today, planned power cuts were supposed to happen in 7 regions: Kyiv, Chernihiv, Cherkasy, Zaitomir, Sumy, Kharkiv and Poltava. What's the reason behind the shortfall? Well, there is a 32% deficit in energy supply. That's why these power cuts have been ordered. In fact, Kyiv's mayor says the Ukrainian capital needs to be ready for a total blackout.
Чи припускаєте ви можливість у Києві блекауту повного, коли місто опиниться без світла, без води, без тепла і без зв'язку?
Ми робимо все для того, щоб цього не відбулося, а давайте будемо відвертими. Наші вороги роблять все для того, щоб місто було без тепла, без електрики, без водопостачання. Взагалі ми все померли. Це завдання. І від цього, наскільки ми будемо підготовлені до різних ситуацій, наскільки ми вистоїмо, від цього залежить і майбутнє країни, і наше з вами майбутнє кожного з нас. Тому потрібно бути готовим. Ми не виключаємо, ми прораховуємо різні сценарії для того, щоб витримати, для того, щоб підготовити.
So, both sides are at odds with each other. Kyiv has completely ruled out any talks with Moscow. What about Russia? Some reports have emerged. Apparently, a senior White House official is holding talks with top aides of Vladimir Putin. Who is spearheading this effort from the American side? The U.S. National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan. He's said to be in contact with the Russian foreign policy advisor Yuri Ushakov. Sullivan is also in touch with his direct Russian counterpart, Nikolai Patrushev. What is the purpose of this dialogue? Reports say the aim is to avoid any further escalation. The Kremlin spokesperson was asked about these reports today. He refused to comment. If America has indeed made an outreach, it is a major step. But it doesn't guarantee an end to this war. That cannot happen unless both Ukraine and Russia are willing to negotiate. Ukraine remains adamant. So does Russia. But for how long can this continue? Already, Europeans are tired of this war. Over the weekend, Rome witnessed a major protest. Tens of thousands of people were part of this. These protesters have two demands. Number one, halt arms shipments to Ukraine. Number two, a ceasefire.
Instead of thinking about their own interests, governments must realize that there is only one world and we must defend it. By defending the world together, we defend ourselves in the right way. It is not possible for everyone to think only of their own interests. It is out of place.
I am only here because war has only brought destruction, hatred, and negative consequences. War is wrong and negative. There is no other way to describe it.